Are you feeling good about yourself? Well, yeah, I guess I kind of was actually. Have you considered not feeling good about yourself? Well, I hadn't, but I suppose now that you've brought it up, because I think maybe you should realise that you're a piece of shit. Do you feel like a piece of shit now? Well, yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Yes. Welcome to social media. Word up, y'all. You find me today in particularly fine fettle on probably one of the last glorious days of the year. We've had some shit weather the last couple of weeks. Not good, but yeah, I think we got a couple of days worth of the good stuff before we descend into the darkness. And speaking of the darkness, I suppose that's a good enough segue to go in today's topic, which is why I got sick of social media. Now, I'd like to clarify that I do believe there's lots of positives about social media, and actually my interactions with people on this channel have been pretty much 100%, yeah, 99.9% positive. So it's not actually about my experiences on YouTube either. It's just social media in general and how it just burns you out, and just, I don't know, it feels to me like it just kind of, you go on social media and you're made to hate yourself, or more specifically hate others. As I said, there are good things about social media, of course. It keeps people in touch with one another. It allows me to do videos like this, allows me to build a community. I suppose ultimately what it does allow you to do is to have a platform in which to combat the negativity, because I suppose all the noise that's coming from the extreme negative, it does need to be balanced out with some positivity. You have to fight back with it, I suppose. I think all of us have had our burnout with social media. I mean, let's start out with I suppose my personal reasons for giving it a break, because anyone who's done YouTube or anything like that for a long time, you can get burnt out on it quite easily. You have to constantly worry about, you know, coming up with ideas for videos and filming them and editing them, of course. The algorithm is something you have to constantly consider. YouTube requires you to put out a certain amount of videos every week before it really starts taking you seriously. And even if you're a big YouTuber, even if you're getting lots of views, if you stop putting out regular content or whatever, you get penalised for that. So you're in this constant state of, you know, having to put stuff up, and I've not always got something to say, so I kind of don't like the idea of just putting something out for the sake of doing it. And then ultimately you take a few weeks off from it, and you know, it's kind of hard to get back into it because it takes so much of your free time away, and then suddenly you find you got time to do other things, and it's kind of nice to be able to do that. Another thing that was great to get away from is not checking my phone every damn 5 minutes. Any of you will know what it's like when you post something up on social media. You're constantly looking out for the likes and the dislikes and the comments and the shares and the subscribers and all that sort of stuff. You're constantly looking out for that stuff, so you're constantly just looking at your phone. Where's the info? Where's my engagement? Where's my validity? Those are just a couple of reasons of why, you know, I personally can get burnt out on the YouTube side of things. But let's go into actual social media in general. It's just the toxicity on there. Of course, there's a lot of good stuff, but let's be honest, there's a lot of negativity out there. And if you're a sensitive person like I am, I might have spent years pretending I'm not, but I am a very, very sensitive soul. Yes, that's right. Despite having the ability to grow a truly Viking-esque beard, I am a truly sensitive soul. Seriously though, I do have a fantastic beard. And I do take on that energy pretty badly. And it can get to you, you know? Social media in many ways is like the news. Quite often it's the most negative stuff that gets the biggest attention. Of course, there's the Biohazard song Black and White and Red All Over, in which they say, if war sells papers, why don't peace? That's a very good point. Nobody's really interested in things when everything's going well. Nobody really, you know, nobody really wants to read about it or hear about it. When there's wars and when there's shit going on all over the place, everybody's all over that, everybody's talking about it. It's exactly the same with social media. Facebook, I never got much out of at all, personally, so I just deleted that. I completely deleted my account on that one. Pretty much the only accounts I use now are YouTube and Instagram. TikTok, my God, that's a fucking foul platform. I think it's banned in China, I'm not sure, but I think it's banned in China, and I can completely understand why. It's just, oh my, it's so bad. Men hating women, women hating men, left versus right, black versus white. And I'm not one of these conspiracy theorists who say, oh yeah, all of this is being manufactured so that we hate each other and keeps us down. I think the unfortunate thing about it, and the thing that probably gets me down the most, is actually that we're the ones doing this to ourselves. And actually I think a lot of what you find on social media is actually a fair representation of humanity. That's why I find it so goddamn depressing. If you spend any time on social media or the news, you could be having the best day of your life, and within 30 minutes you could be just a quivering wreck again. If you're feeling good about yourself, there'll be something about it. There'll be something online to make you feel bad about yourself. Much like religion, it's often the extremes that mess everything up for everybody else. I think most of us are kind of happy to get along and just get through life, but you've got the extremes on both sides who just make everything shit. Almost to the point where you're forced to try and pick a side, which I refuse to do. I definitely, I definitely have beliefs and morals that put me in both the right and the left side of things, but that doesn't seem to work anymore. It seems if you identify as, right or left, then there is a whole slew of ideals that you have to take on with that, or are just applied onto you. There's no nuance. You're just this or that. And everybody's just shouting at one another about how shit the other person is and how everything in the world is somebody else's fault. Essentially the problem is, and I know exactly what sort of a hypocrite I'm going to come across as here, everyone's got a platform now to voice their opinion. And everyone feels life would just be better if everybody thought the same way I do. And again, I'm aware of the hypocrisy of me pointing a camera in my face and posting this up to social media and saying the exact same thing. But then again, I'm not saying that life would be better if everybody thought the same way I do. I don't know shit. I'd like to think I got a little more self-awareness than some. But then again, I'm sure they all think they got self-awareness as well. That's the thing with being a selfish prick. You don't actually know it. Recently, I rewatched Monty Python's Life of Brian, which I hadn't seen in years. And there was that scene in it where there's basically a slew of street prophets, all of them just spewing their message about how, you should believe in this or you should believe in that. And then, of course, you got that fantastic bit with Michael Palin just delivering this incredibly monotone delivery of his beliefs, and people just sort of sat by thinking, oh yeah, he's got a point. And that kind of feels almost like what social media is to me, just a bunch of people spewing bullshit and expecting everybody to believe them. Once again, I'm aware of the brutal hypocrisy of everything that I'm saying here. I think that's where we are at life, in that we have far too many people who are convinced that they have the answer, and not enough people who are seeking, real ways to get there. There are so many people out there who are just pointing the finger outward and saying everything's shit because of you, but you don't really see too many people really looking within and, okay, what can I do? Because as corny as it may sound, I do truly believe that, if you want to change the world, then you have to start with yourself. You know what I mean? It really is that simple. I think you start with you. People respond to what you do, not what you say. If you look at anyone that you admire in the world, it's generally somebody who acts in a certain way, not what they say. There are plenty of people who can say shit. Look at all the politicians. Anybody noticed how much more brazen politicians seem to be nowadays? As in, they almost don't give a fuck that they're in the wrong and that we know that they're full of shit. It's almost like, yeah, that's the way it is. Used to be, at least they used to try and cover stuff up. Nowadays, it just seems like, yep, deal with it. Now, I said earlier on how I don't believe there's any kind of conspiracy or anything like that to make us hate one another. I think that's just inherent in all of us. I think the problem with Big Brother and George Orwell's prediction that, that we would have this stuff forced upon us, is the sad truth is that we actually do this stuff to ourselves. And I think that while none of this is constructed, I think there are definitely people out there who make use of us hating one another. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now which is just sinister shit. And while all of this is going on, we're too busy hating one another. It's never felt less unified than it does right now. It's so divided. Nobody agrees on anything. The extremes of everything right now are just absolutely ridiculous, and it's very depressing. And I think that's why you know, that's why I stepped away for a long time, because I was just sick and tired. I will say as well, I will say this right now, there was a period of time where I didn't go on social media for a good couple of months. I didn't look at anything, and I'll be honest, I felt loads better. I genuinely did feel loads better, because actually I found a lot of the people around me, we actually all get on. You know, we're actually all fine. People have got their own shit going on, people have their own beliefs, but you know, day to day we all just kind of get on with one another. But as soon as you go on social media or the news, all you hear is how we hate one another, and it makes you hate. And that's the thing, with you spend a bit of time on that and you start getting riled up into it. You start hating yourself, or you start feeling bad about other people. Actually, now that you mention it, my life isn't shit because of poor choices that I've made, it's because of other people, and I should probably hate those people, and by hating those people, that will somehow make my life better in the future. Little thing I've learned over the last couple of years, by the way, happiness isn't in the future, happiness is now. So if you are actually there thinking that things are going to get better in the future, they're not. That's not to say that's without hope at all. I'm saying that to a certain extent, happiness is a choice, in that you can choose to be present and in the moment, and that's you know, getting away from social media allowed me to do that for a little while. Now I'm coming back into it, so God knows how I'm going to feel in a little while, but yeah, it's easy to get wrapped up in that shit. One way or the other, man-made or not, it's there's no doubt there are a lot of people out there who are benefiting from us looking the other way and not fighting back against assholes. There's a lot of trouble in this world right now, and we really do need to stop hating on each other, start supporting one another instead, start putting out good. As usual, I didn't prepare any kind of notes or anything for this. I just came out and started talking, and at this moment I feel like I've kind of said the bulk of what I wanted to in terms of the negative. So I guess all we can do now is really focus on the positive, and that's, you know, I guess do what we can to help. I know that I've certainly had my head up my ass many times in my life. It's very easy to forget that there are other people around, and people benefit from you if you do good things. If a few more of us did stuff like that, you know, the world does get better. It's clear that nobody's coming to help us. You know, the government doesn't give a shit. There are no options. It doesn't feel like there's anyone to vote for right now. Nobody's going to help us out. So we need to do it ourselves. So I guess we should all just stop. See, I'm going into having the answer. See, I'm full of shit. But you know, I think a lot of it does come from looking within and seeing where you're at and where your place, you know, what part you play in the game. You know, I think that has a lot to do with it. I think you know where I'm coming from. Get yourself in a good place, and then you can help others up. And try and switch off the negativity as best as you can, because it is all out there. You know, people, you know, depression is sky high everywhere at the moment. It's just so easy to. I mean, we've had a bad couple of years, and it looks like we're in for quite a few bad ones yet. We're here in the UK, we're in the middle of a cost of living crisis. I know that other parts of the world are going through it as well. Huge corporations are making money hand over fist year after year, and we seem to have less and less for ourselves all the time. It's the way it's always been. And it can be very difficult to keep your head above water, but we have to. We absolutely have to. So yeah, just keep an eye out for other people as well as yourself. See what we can do to help one another, rather than fucking each other over and talking shit about each other and causing even more division. I think that's a fitting way to close. I mean, I haven't got anything else to say, really. You know, you could tell by that last little monologue, really, that I was struggling for words. And now they're all coming. I'm ending. I'll see you later. Bye bye.